Hello, everyone. I hope that the sound is better. I'm using headphones, so maybe that will improve the sound. I don't really know. Hopefully. Uh, basically, this is part two of an analysis of my Wonder Woman paper, which is history of Wonder Woman from the 1940s, her creation to the 1980s, looking at it through a feminist lens. Well, at least that's part of the paper. So if you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Anyway, let's get going. I feel we can do 2 or 3 pages today. I don't know if you guys like this being long, so um yes. So the comic book issue 2, Dr. Poison, according to Jill Lepore, uh, provides insight into an episode of Marston's life. When he was 21 years old, he almost took a cyanide capsule to commit suicide. Now, if I refer back to the book, Secret History of Wonder Woman, Um, in it, Jill Lepore, I believe this is in the first chapter. She deals with like the Marston as he grew up, and he grew up. He was just always kind of a very depressed child, almost suicidally so, and clearly it seems that he was looking for a cause. Uh, so and this grew worse as he grew older and up until his 20s. So, he commits suicide, ultimately decided not to because he discovered the cause of feminism. So, basically, I think he was somebody who was looking for a cause, and that cause just so happened to be feminism. After he went to a famous meeting held by the suffragette Panhurst, uh, yeah, I think I might get that wrong. I think it's Panhurst rather than Pankhurst, but it could be wrong. She had been, she had tried to speak, barred from speaking at Harvard because she was a woman, and so it was held off campus. However, Marston went to the meeting anyway. At the meeting, Pankhurst gave a fiery speech in support of the right of women to vote, ending by calling women to break free of their chains. And this, of course, would be in the Wonder Woman comics. When she's bound, she's powerless. But when she's able to break free of these bounds, she gets her powers back. Um, and that's this was inspired by this speech in which Pankhurst was like, women, break your chains, something like that. The speech caused Marston to decided to dedicate his life to the cause of women's liberation. After that night, he decided not to commit suicide. Sorry, I repeat that. But he later created the story of Dr. Poison. So this, of course, is a story that was inspired by the fact that he almost committed suicide. In the story, Dr. Poison is using cyanide to destroy a whole city. Oh, terrible grammar. Destroy a whole city with cyanide. The primary cause of this issue features Wonder Woman thwarting the schemes of a villainous character named Dr. Poison. Dr. Poison is a chemist and master toxins who was working for the Axis powers during World War II. And it is a she, as are most of the villains that Wonder Woman fights in World War II. So there are, as are most of the villains that Wonder Woman fights in World War II, there are like a lot of spies and stuff. She creates poisons and attempts to use them to harm the Allied war effort. As Wonder Woman confronts Dr. Poison, she showcases her strength, intelligence, and courage. She also employs her iconic lasso of truth and bulletproof brackets. So I say brackets, but so Wonder Woman is a lasso, of course, but she also has like bulletproof bracelets that she can use to bullets to bounce off of them. Yes. In her battle against the villain throughout the story, Wonder Woman's unwavering dedication to justice to protect the innocent are on full display. In addition, with the main story with Dr. Poison, this issue also includes the shorter stories or features of Wonder Woman's various abilities, including her super strength, which she has. She's not as strong as like Superman, but still. Wristbands, it's not bullets, which I think is what I was trying to do with the brackets. Sorry. Overall, and here you can see the site. So, page 2 and page 12 for those of you who are interested in the secret history of Wonder. There's also she's got an image on those pages which deals with this scene. I do like so. Just a moment. Let me use woman images in secret history of well, we didn't have any good images. But anyway, throughout the comic, she at certain moments will give images of Wonder Woman. Which they're pretty cool. I mean, at least I think so. So story is key to grasping an episode in Marston's life where he almost killed himself. Wonder Woman, a symbol for feminism, saves the city just as feminism in the cause of women's equality gave him purpose and so saved his life. So yeah, that's one story. So in another story, entitled The Clutches of Dr. Nero, this issue provides a glimpse into Wonder Woman's adventures and storytelling style in the mid 1940s. It features Wonder Woman's attempting to stop evil genius Professor Nero, who is seeking to revive the dead Italian dictator Mussolini with the help of his villainous assistant, Octavia. Um, so the story begins Wonder Woman is in Rome helping to rebuild the city after World War II. Um, discovers the plot because the remains of Mussolini in Rome at the time have been stolen. Actually, Mussolini, like historically, Mussolini was not buried in Rome. He was buried, I believe, in the city where he grew up. Can you actually look this up? He's buried in the family crypt in the province of Emilia Romagna. So, in yes. So, but in this, of course, it's fiction. So she's a mom. She investigates with the help of an Italian American named Franco and her boyfriend Trevor. They find out about the plot and stop Nero just as he's about to revive Mussolini with the goal of restoring his fascist empire. Wonder Woman is able to foil the plot. According to Jill Report, this was created, in response to World War II. That's easy. There's a lot of discussion. So yeah, in the comics, there's a lot of discussion around fascism. Um, and the reason I liked Professor Nero, is because it's one of the few of the you can quote me if I'm wrong. But it's one of the few original comics that Marston did that was set in like post-fascist Europe in another country. So a lot of them are set in America, where she foils this Nazi agent who's trying to sabotage the war effort, um, or solves a murder. But not a lot of them are set in like Europe just after World War II. So that's why I liked Professor Nero. Um, yes. According to the poor, so moving on, according to the poor, Wonder Woman was created in response to World War II. At the time, there was a lot of discussion that comic books might be leading to fascism. In a famous essay called The Coming of Superman in the New Republic, the novelist and poet Stanley Kunitz wrote that Superman might be the coming of Nietzsche's Overman. The philosopher Nietzsche has been wrongly mm, associated with fascism. Slater Brown, a novelist, commented on Kunitz's article with his own, arguing that in Germany, the older generation who had supported, and there you have my sources, if any of you are curious, it's page, yeah, page Dr. Nero. Well, were the ones embracing comics. This article caused much debate and controversy. So, I mean, this was the sort of debate that was going on at the time around comics and fashions. So, like today, we would think of this as ludicrous, but it's even more ludicrous if you consider. And I had not known this um when I wrote this paper, but I have since discovered this. So the two creators of comics, Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel, were both Jewish. um, both of them, I think, were from New York originally. They moved to the Midwest. I believe it's Michigan. It might have been Chicago, but they were Jewish. And like when you look at the story of Superman, right? Um, what is he? Why he's this sort of character sent from the planet Krypton on a rocket ship. He lands in, I think, Kansas. I'm sure that's the original. He lands in Kansas. I mean, this like he's such a Jewish character upon when I learned this. Like, oh yeah, then the origin story makes so much sense because he's like Moses. And like a lot of Jews in America, he's got this sense of being from somewhere else, being different in a way. Um, and so he has to deal with prejudice against his alien ancestry, just as many Jews have to deal with anti-Semitism. And I learned this. So DC has history of DC, history of comics. So, if any of you want to read more about Superman and Batman and a lot of this, there's a book called The Comic Book History of Comics, uh, which is a very interesting sort of book. I mean, it's not academic, but like, if you just want an introduction into, um, comic book history, I think that that is a good book to read. I mean, plus it's fun. I mean, it's literally like you're reading a history book, but in comics, and it deals with the story of the various comic book creators, how the comic book industry originated. So yeah, and it can be found on Kindle, or you can buy a physical. I believe it's if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can get it for free. So yes, go and read more about comics. So, um, I believe these articles caused much debate and controversy in the literature and comic book community. I will continue. I was thinking about stopping. To me. So Olive Bond, who was Marston's lover slash wife, pitched the idea to the editor of At Family Circle, which was a women's magazine she worked for, to interview her friend. She says so. Imagine this. She works for a women's magazine at the Family Circle. And she goes to her boss and says, yes, I want to interview a friend of mine, but really they are lovers at this point. Because Olive Bond, um, she she read the New Republic and she was interested in comics. Oh, as an aside, today we associate the New Republic mainly with political commentary. And well, that was certainly true at the time. The New Republic, and it's set in the 30s, was actually geared more toward literature and the arts. It did have some political commentary. Over the years, the political commentary has grown, whereas now it's mainly a political magazine. But that was not true in the 30s and 40s. It was still known as a magazine of literature. In fact, um, the one of the people who would roughly be called New Humanism is people like H.L. Mencken and the author of Babbitt. Just a moment. Sinclair Lewis wrote for the New Republic. Um, so, needless to say, at the time, it had a huge literary cachet. Um, that it has since unfortunately lost, at least from my point of view. So that's why. Um, so which was a woman's magazine she worked for. To do yeah. The psychologist William Marston was famous for his theory of the feminine personality disc, as I reviewed it. Happened to be well, they were both fudged. So Alban also read comics, but Marston was an avid reader. The editor agreed to the interview, and it became an article entitled Marston at Family Circle. In the article, Marston goes on to describe the appeal of comic books, especially superhero books like Superman. He suggests that these comics fulfill children's wishes for strength and power and the desire to benefit others. He downplays the presence of sadistic elements in comics, arguing that the threat of torture is harmless as long as the actual suffering is not shown, which it was shown a little bit in his comics. So he's being later on, he's being a bit of a hypocrite. Uh, the article portrays Marston as a supporter of comics, even suggesting that they encourage children to read, which is probably true. Uh, he argues that the real problem with comics is that they lack strong female characters. The article was very well received by the readers of the Circle, and the magazine even offered to bring Marston on as a staff psychologist, a writer for the magazine, and he happily accepted. So we have we have to understand that in the 1940s, comics were mainly geared toward children. Now, there were exceptions to this. Certainly you had like The Shadow and other stuff, more pulpish comics that were more geared toward adults. A lot of these would come out later in the 50s. Um, but initially in the 30s and 40s, comics were mainly geared toward kids. Um, and and so this is why it's these people who read comics. Even today, there's that stigma. And with that, I will end the um the video, and I just show you where I got the article. The Poor, The Secret History of Wonder Woman, 184 and 180. And for those of you who would like to read, Marston's comic, the article he wrote, because you can William Marston's comics. Yes, we have in the American Scholar, and it might link this when the video is finally published. But you can literally just go and read his essay, um, his article that he wrote of the article that he wrote defending comics, and I think it's a worthwhile read for nothing else in the history. So, I suppose that's all, folks. Please, like, comment, and subscribe if you want to hear more of me, as I pretentiously analyze my own subpar work. Goodbye, folks.